What's up, everybody? I'm going to show you how to wrap bar stools like these with absolutely no sewing. My name's Sam Mapes and I've been doing upholstery for the last 11 years. And in this video I'm going to show you the tools along with how to use them in order to do a project like this. The first thing you're going to need is a staple puller. You can get by with a flat nose screwdriver, but a dedicated tool like this is like $4 to $5 on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description. Makes your job a lot easier pulling all the staples off on the back side of your project. Go ahead and remove all the staples to get the cover off. I always like to cut out my welt cord first. It's the longest running piece of material that you're going to have, so I like to just get it out of the way. That way I know when I'm cutting out the seat material, I'm going to have enough to do that. Cutting out the listing, it helps to have a little bit longer ruler like this. You can use a rotary cutter or a pair of scissors. The next thing is kind of a bonus step. If you have a steamer, you probably don't have an industrial one like this, but you might have one that you use for clothes, or an iron, and you can iron out that material to get it to lay flat. That'll give you a better reading of how much material you're going to need to cut out to wrap the bar stool itself. If you don't have a steamer or anything like that readily available, you can go ahead and skip this step and just get some weights or something heavy to kind of help hold that out into place. I like to add about 1 inch to 1.5 inches extra material as I'm tracing it out. You got to remember that once you staple this on, you're going to cut off all the extra material. So when you pulled that cover off, that's not a true reading of what the actual amount of material that you're going to end up using. This next step is optional as well. You can use a 3M adhesive can that you can get at any Lowe's, Home Depot. The stuff that I'm using is a little bit more industrial, and you might not have that readily available. Using a glue like this will actually speed up the process once we go to staple it on. Now I'm going to lay out the welting cord that was inside the original cover, inside the listing piece that we just cut out. I'm pinching it over to help hold that in place, so when I go to put that on the bottom side of the seat, it makes it a lot easier. Now if you're trying to keep this kind of lower budget, you don't have to use glue. You can kind of skip this step entirely. It's just going to make it a lot easier at the end because you're not going to have to try to pinch and hold that in place as you're stapling it. You know, I don't know about you, I don't have enough arms. Otherwise I'd be patting myself on the back all day. That is so stupid. This next part's also kind of a bonus step as well. It really helps if you have a sewing machine to go ahead and stitch that. Now I know I said this is a no stitch bar stool, but if you have a machine, I would recommend stitching this. It just holds it a lot easier, and what I like about it is it kind of gives you a little bit of a reference mark of where you can lay your staples, so it lays it nice and straight, kind of gives it a little higher end finished product. Next, we're ready to staple the cover onto the seat. Now you can use a pneumatic staple gun like this, or if you have one of the handheld ones, that works too. What we're going to do is put a couple staples that we know we're going to remove later on. So go ahead and set this a little bit further than what you would for your final staple. What that's going to do is act as a separate set of hands so you can work your way around the seat to get out any wrinkles. If you have a steamer, This is where you'll use it to kind of relax that vinyl and help stretch it to get away from any of the puckers that's going to arise as you're working around, especially in a tight corner. If you don't have a steamer, you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer. Next, you want to kind of take care as you're working your way around the corner. As you're folding the material, it'll create kind of a little pucker like this. Now, I find it's helpful if you lay a staple in each pucker as you're working your way around. Now that we have the cover all stapled on, we'll go ahead and trim off all the extra material that's on the bottom side of the seat. We'll move on to the welt. As you can see, we left one end of the welt really close to the end of the material. This is so when we work our way around the seat, we'll actually fold over the excess material on the other side to give it a nice finished look. So go ahead and start stapling, leaving yourself about 2 inches of material from the end of that welt cord. When you start stapling the welt cord, leave about 2 inches from the end, so that way when you work yourself around, you'll have enough loose material that you can fold up and wrap around to give it a nice finished look. Well, that's it, guys. If you feel like you learned something, hit like and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more videos like this throughout the year. The first thing you're going to need is to hit puberty.